Let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell. And Andrew, as you suggested yesterday on Sunday Agenda, sooner rather than later for the Aston by-election, and that's what's happening. It's going to be at the start of April.
Yes, Kieran, as predicted on Sunday Agenda yesterday, we have an Aston by-election before Easter. The first litmus test for the Anthony Albanese versus Peter Dutton contest. The by-election, April Fool's Day, April 1, the Saturday night, the week after the New South Wales election, or the Saturday, should I say. And as the by-election date was revealed, the Liberals are yet to select a candidate for the seat. Peter Dutton in Perth, a short time ago, saying they were the underdogs. So it will be down to the Victorian Liberal Party Administrative Committee to decide who is the candidate, and my understanding is that will occur in the next 24 hours. And so the two frontrunners are believed to be the Melbourne City Councillor and barrister Rashina Campbell, who is the wife of Herald Sun journalist James Campbell, and she's been endorsed by former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, and former Victorian Liberal MP Catherine Burnett-Wake. But a third candidate, who I've been told not to rule out, is the local oncologist Ranjana Shrivastava. There's also a bloke running, but apparently he's got no chance. Labor has already pre-selected a former union official, breast cancer survivor and self-proclaimed suburban working mum in Mary Doyle. The Liberal margin in this seat Alan Tudge has vacated is 2.8%. If the coalition were to lose this by-election, I think it would be very bad news indeed for Peter Dutton. They say it would be the first time it has happened in 100 years, a situation where the government has won one back off the opposition. But having said that, if you look at the recent history of these things, it's often been, in recent years, a very narrow opposition victory that occurs. I expect it to be tight. And we saw that in Eden-Monaro, we saw that in Braddon and Longman before that, and that's where my money is. Although, if you can only just win, you can also just lose. From the Liberal Party's perspective, it's not too difficult a campaign to run. Send Anthony Albanese a message on the cost of living has to be the way to go. By-elections, we know, can be leader killers. We saw that with Malcolm Turnbull. We saw that with former Labor leader Bill Hayden back in 1982-83. But at the end of the day, who is there to replace Peter Dutton anyhow in the unlikely event he lost the by-election? If there were to be a swing to the coalition, on the other hand, that might knock any complacency out of the Labor camp. Well, here is Peter Dutton about his prospects in Aston earlier. I believe he's pretty confident, but he calls himself the underdog here.
I would very much like in a democratic process that we have in the Liberal Party for a female candidate to be selected in Aston, but ultimately that's a question for the division. I'm confident ultimately that we can win, but I think it'll be a tough fight, and I think we go into it clearly as the underdogs.
So there you go, both sides of the underdogs apparently. Shows it's going to be very tight. Of course, Aston has been the scene of a famous by-election before. John Howard's Liberals squeaked over the line there in 2001 against the odds, even before the Tampa came onto the horizon with a bunch of asylum seekers and helped his re-election. And it was after this result that John Howard proclaimed his government was back in the game for that 2001 election year.
I draw some comfort from the fact that if there were an unstoppable momentum for Labor to win the federal election, they'd have rolled over us in Aston. And I believe that the government is well and truly back in the game.